Family, what's going on? This right here, I don't know why it's showing private. Let's fix that. Let me fix that real quick. What's going on here? Let's fix this. Wow, it took forever. Okay. All right, family, peace and shalom. As y'all know, I'm still testing this software out. Yesterday, things didn't work out as planned in regards to the live stream, but tomorrow morning, or either early afternoon sometime, whatnot, I should be premiering on Maccabees TV, and I may be on Spiritual Combat and the Sakari channel, depending upon how things work out. Seems like a lot. I may just do one, and I may do Spiritual Combat next Sunday. But nevertheless, right now I'm just testing this out early in the morning on Sunday. I know some of y'all probably in church right now. I'm getting ready for church. I'm just playing with y'all. But nah, seriously though. Let me just check to see what's going on. Let's see what's going on. See if I let me go to. There we go. All right, so I see some of y'all. Peace to the Tabitha West, Black Ave, and the Shepherd in the building. All right, so I don't know. Let me know if y'all like this interface better. I doctored it up a little bit, just to test it out. Probably won't keep this session. I don't know. Probably make it private or something like that, or unlisted. But those of you who are up in the morning right now, appreciate y'all here. I just again wanted to test this out, see what this looks like. I'm going to see how this looks on mobile. Peace to my brother D-Red in the building. Shalom to Nidus Nelson. All right, thanks Black Ave. He said looks good. That's what's up. Appreciate that. I think it's best viewed in landscape mode. Portrait mode is not as clear, but landscape mode is pretty good. And if you're on a PC, it's like 10 times better. All right, so all right, so I think this should be good. Okay. I should also shout out to Cash at Hand. Peace to you as well. So you never catch me live. I know sometimes people don't until we get on a more consistent schedule. So I apologize for that, but we're working on that. So cash at hand, if you are interested in joining KHM, we would love to have y'all on board. So you're gonna have to send me an email request. So I'm gonna give you my email address. All right, that's the KHM email address. So shoot me an email there, and in the subject matter, just put in membership, and we'll get through to your email and let y'all know how to be a part of the onboarding process. So we appreciate that. Definitely. Just remember, we're mostly, not mostly, but the three tenets of KHM has to do with reconstructing and restoring culture, so that way we can have and establish more cohesive communities. And then from the cohesive communities, we're working to implementing autonomy, so we are self-governing amongst ourselves as much as possible. You feel what I'm saying? So those are the three tenets and the different layers that we work on independently and side by side with one another until we actually achieve the end state, right? So definitely appreciate that. Shout out to Azazaya Azazaya Ban Yahawada, or Izazaya. I don't know how to say that, but it's cool. But shout out to Mikhail Woodward. Appreciate y'all, man. Y'all up early in the morning, man. How many of y'all getting ready for church in the morning? Let me know. Easter's next Sunday, I believe, right? I think Easter's next Sunday. I don't know. I haven't been keeping up on that in some time now, for some years now. But Easter, I believe, is definitely next Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. All right. So now what I want to do, since I have y'all here, I'm testing this out. I guess the quality looks good. Let me enhance it on my phone. Let me see what it looks like in 1080 on my phone. I'm gonna try to see if I can share my screen with y'all. Oh yeah, it looks much crisper with that. Mikhail Woodward said just finished the feast on unleavened bread. That's what's up. That's what's up. Shout out to all y'all that's keeping the Hagim, which is our ethnic marker, and it's a memorial. Um, y'all let me know. It looks like to me it's buffering. Shout out to John Miley Lewis. I think it's buffering. I think it looks like it's buffering on my end. Might be my phone. I don't know. But yeah, if y'all new to the channel, you see the scrolling text at the bottom. Make sure y'all hit subscribe. Click the like button if you're enjoying the video. Also, make sure you click the bell icon next to the channel subscription button, so that way you can get notifications when we go live. All right. So I want to make sure I had these elements on here as well. And for Brandon, the logo's there. People who ask how can they support, we have that right over here. There we go. We got it right over there. You can go to any one of those means of supporting. And as you can see over here, there we go. That right there is the live chat that I have here on the screen, as you can see below. That's the scrolling text, and I may add something over here in this corner. The next time I officially go live, I'll probably have something over there as well. And probably what I'll have over there, it depends on the subject matter that we discuss, right? I appreciate that, my brother Robert Corley. So since it's just us, oh wow, that's awesome to hear. Cash at hand. So on my channel, I have several videos that you can introduce to a congregation. You understand what I'm saying? And kind of like break things down. I mean, you can really grab anything. It depends on what the subject matter is. But in regards to Passover, since you brought that up, let me see if I can touch on that real quick for you, right? So let's do this. See, now I'm about to get busy for a little bit. Hold on, give me a second. I was trying not to do this, but it's all good. Y'all support me, so I gotta support y'all. So I'm gonna hook you up real quick. Cash at hand. So look, let's get in. Let's get to the New Testament, right? We're gonna look at a couple of things real quick. Let me see if it'll allow me to share my screen. Hold on one second. Let me see. Let me see. I think it should let me do it. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. I didn't leave y'all. Give me 1 second. I want to go to this real quick. All right. Y'all let me know if y'all can see my screen. Let me pull this one up right here. Y'all let me know if you can see the website that I got up. If it's a blank screen, it looks like it's blank. I don't know why that is. Yeah, it looks like it's a blank screen. I don't know why it's doing that. Let me do this. Hold on. Maybe I gotta minimize that. Yeah, it looks like it's still a blank screen. All right. Well, I don't know what's going on with this. I'm probably gonna have to figure it out. What's going on with that? But anyway, so shalom to Yalamed 77. So I don't know what's going on with that. So nonetheless, I could talk y'all through it, and I'll figure that out when I get off the air. But all right, so let's get to let's go to Mark chapter 14 verse 1, right? We can go to Mark chapter 14 verse 1. If it's buffering, hit 1. If it's playing, hit 2. If it's buffering, hit 1. If it's playing, hit 2. Shout out to Shogun 25. Shalom to you as well. Let me know if y'all can see it, because it looks like it's buffering on my end. It's probably because the amount of trying to push it at a bit rate of 6 to 7 megabytes per second. So shout out to Truth Seeker in the building. So you're saying it's playing, so it might just be buffering on my phone. I don't know. So all right, so let's get to Mark chapter 14 verse 1, right? All right, so Mark chapter 14 verse 1. There's a word there that says Passover, okay? It's Pascha, right? And Pascha in the Greek comes from Pesach in the Hebrew, right? So that word Easter in the scriptures is there falsely so. So look, we go to Mark chapter 14 verse 1. It says, it would be now the Passover and the feast of unleavened bread after 2 days, and they were seeking the chief priests and the scribes how that they will stealthily take him so they may kill him. So keep this in mind, that now we are about to approach Passover. Now remember, before Passover is there, you have the lamb with you for about 3 days, and then in the middle of that week, you kill the Passover lamb, right? And then after the Passover lamb has been killed, that next evening, the day of Passover, you actually prepare the lamb for slaughter. And then the next day, that evening, is when you kill the Passover lamb, right? And then that evening is the first day of unleavened bread, and there you roast the lamb along with bitter herbs and with unleavened bread, right? So now we get an idea of what we see, what's going on here. And the reason why this is extremely important is because we have to understand that without understanding the feast days, this is not going to make any sense, right? So if they're going to do a message on the feast days, they got to understand how this works, So in order to understand how this works, you will go to Leviticus chapter 23, or you go to Deuteronomy chapter 16. And what they'll do is outline for you the Passover. Or you can go to Exodus chapter 12, and you can get more details in regards to the Passover there. So you got Exodus chapter 12, Leviticus chapter 23, and Deuteronomy chapter 16. All right, you need this background information before you can even see what's going on here. Now, there is a book. Let me show y'all this book. Well, I don't know if I can show it to y'all because it's not letting me share my screen. But there's a book that I think is invaluable to me. It's an invaluable resource, and I think it will help y'all too. Matter of fact, what I will do, because the reason why I'm discussing this, shout out to 916 Shan Shan. What's up, sis? Yep, we getting it. You know how we do. Cash at hand. Plug your email in the chat. I'm going to push this document out to you. And the reason why I'm going to share this document with you is because it talks specifically on this subject matter. And it's an invaluable resource for me. And it has helped me in understanding the feast days, right? And the calendrical systems, right? And how to ascertain the feast days on the different calendrical systems and which one is the most accurate as it pertains to what occurred to Yeshua Bar Yosef. All right. So I'm going to, I don't know how I'm going to show you this. You know what? I can't show it to y'all. Hold on. I can at least do that. I can show you the book. Hold on. I got y'all. Hold on. There we go. I'm going to show this to y'all. No, I'm not trying to do that. Okay, I think I could do this. Hold on, give me a second. I'm gonna show you the book cover at least. Man, I wish I could show you the. Actually, you know what? I probably can show y'all. Let's do this. Let me try this. Hold on. Hold on. Give me a second. I think I can show y'all. Let me try this. Now, mind you, this is new. This is definitely new for me, but I think I got it. Give me a second. Um, did it work? Doesn't look like it worked. All right, let me try that again. Nah, it's not working. All right, so let's do this then. Let me do this. Hold on, give me a second. I'm gonna show y'all this book. Hold on, family, just give me a second. Let me blow it up a little bit more. All right, let's see. All right, so I could probably show it to y'all now so you can see. Oh, shoot. I mean, I probably can share my screen. Hold on. Okay, let's do this. Let me try this first before I try to show this. I think I could do this. Give me a second. Okay. Um, Let me know if y'all can see this. Okay. All right. So let's go in read mode. It's not. Let me expand it. All right. Let's do this. This window's too small. There we go. All right. This should work. Um, Jedediah, you asking what's the Deuteronomy reference? Deuteronomy 16. It mentions the feast days, and it includes the Passover and the unleavened bread, right? Or we said Pesach and Chag HaMatzot or Chag HaMatzah. Matzah is singular, feminine. Matzot is plural, feminine in regards to bread, right? Or unleavened bread. So anyway, the name of this book is called Calendrical Variations in Second Temple Judaism. New Perspectives on the Date of the Last Supper Debate, right? This is an invaluable reference. When I say that this is one of the few books that helped me with understanding the calendrical systems, this is an invaluable book, right? What I will urge you to do, cash at hand. I see your email, so I'm gonna hook you up, right? If anybody else wants to hook up, you gotta email me. Um, All right. So cash at hand, I'm going to send this to you because this will break everything down that you need to know as it pertains to the Last Supper, and it being Passover and what day of the calendrical system it was on, and it even gives you a backdrop on a chronology of the Synoptic Gospels, the chronology of the fourth Gospel. I mean, it goes into everything: the patristic evidence, the critics appraisal of the Jobertian theory, sources of Christian liturgy. Man, I mean, see this? It goes into the cycle of festivals and the seasons in the Hebrew Bible, goes into the Pentateuch, it goes into the cycle of feasts and seasons in the book of Jubilees, the Dead Sea Scrolls, other Jewish sources. It goes into the book of Luminaries, and this is what helped me to discover that anomaly in the book of Enoch, right? Hanok. Because I was able to discover the anomaly where we have the two different moon phases being represented in the book of Enoch. And I don't know if this is the source that helped me also locate the phrase that the full moon is for the righteous and the dark moon is for the wicked, right? But this right here, I would say the most important thing is going through the conclusions if you don't have time to read all the pages. But me, I read the whole thing. But what I'll say to you for the next week, what you can do cash at hand is you can read from page 233 on to 275, right? And if you want to read those 40 pages or 41 pages, it'll summarize everything that the book is talking about. But if you really want to get into the meat and potatoes, you got to read the entire PDF. But this will help you to understand all the various arguments, scholarly arguments, as it pertains to when the Last Supper, quote unquote, occurred. All right. So I think right here, this will be extremely important for anybody who is really serious about the reckoning of time as it pertains to this. But again, y'all can email me, the emails in the chat. You can definitely email me if you want this text. I mean, if you want this book. Again, this is for free use purposes only. I'm not selling this book. I'm not making no profits on sharing it with you guys. I got to make sure I put that disclaimer and preface it that way, so that way there won't be any copyright infringement in regards to me sharing this, right? But again, I love this book. Like I said, there's three books that I read from front to back when I was trying to understand the calendrical models that was out there, and that it assisted with me developing my model. So my model that I have is not outlined in any of the books that I read, but the books that I read put me on the right path to developing or reconstructing the pre-exilic calendar. But nonetheless, let me exit out of here for a second. I think this will probably be the best way for me to show you things on my screen, right? So let me close out of here. All right. You said it buffered. You know what I have to do? I'm gonna have to do something with this bit rate because it's a bit too high and it's not gonna help with the consistency of the video. But what I said is, you said when you started to locate. So what I was saying is, when I was on the mission to trying to reconstruct the ancient pre-Israelite metallurgical model or sacerdotal metallurgical model. So what does that mean? Ancient means old, something in antiquity. Pre-exilic means before the exile. Israelite, which is the ethnic designation for the people. Sacerdotal, which means priestly. Metallurgical, which means the study of months or something that's monthly. Model is an archetype or a type of something, right? To be followed or an example, right? So when I reconstructed this, this was one of the sources that helped push me in the right direction, right? This and two other books that I had that deals with the calendar. The other one is, I believe, it's called Calendars and Antiquity, and there's a third one. I forgot that one; it escapes me. But those three things helped me to determine, the direction I should go when reconstructing this pre-exilic calendar. But what I will say to you, Cash at Hand, is when you read this, read the conclusion and focus on the Last Supper part, and it will break down for you some of the stuff that I'm about to share with you real quick. But the important thing that I think that I want to really get to briefly, just to kind of help you out. Where's my? Here it is. All right. And is when you go to Mark chapter 14, verse 1, right? So sometimes people ask me, what's the best Bible to get, right? Um, Depending upon if it's New Testament, Old Testament, people say that, whatever. For the Tanakh, the best one that I recommend is the ESV Interlinear Bible, right? That has some great scholarly notes in it. The interlinear is a reverse interlinear, so it follows the Hebrew and the way the Hebrew it reads from right to left, and also the Hebrew syntax, right? And sentence and grammatical sentence structure, right? So it gives you the direct English translation of that Hebrew word, and it reads in English the way that it's written or that it reads in Hebrew. To me, that's one of the best Bibles to get if you're going to get something like a Bible. If you want to get a Chumash, the best one to get would be the Tanakh Stone Edition. I mean, it's a Tanakh, but it to me has one of the most accurate translations as it pertains to the Old Testament or the first five books, which the Hamash is the designation for. So anyway, so if you want the New Testament, my preference is the Old Syriac Sinaiticus Palimpsest. And if y'all want that, let me know, and I can get that for you. That just that only has the four Gospels, right? So that's my recommendation. Secondary recommendation would be the Peshitta. Third recommendation would be the ESV interlinear, Greek interlinear New Testament, right? So those would be like my favorite, Bibles, if you want to use that word loosely. And when it comes to Bible translations, you have formal equivalency translations, dynamic equivalency translations. Formal equivalency translations, the translators looked at the original language text and decided that we're going to try to translate it word for word as much as possible. The dynamic equivalency translation is the translators looked at the original language and the on the manuscripts and said that we're going to try to translate it thought for thought as much as possible. And then you have a range, right, where you have extreme on both ends, and then you have the moderate. So your formal equivalency would be like your New King James, your King James, New American Standard Bible, ESV. Then on your right side, which will be on the other side, your right would be more conservative, left would be more liberal. So on the left side, you'll have your New Living Translation, your Amplified Bible, your NIV, your the Message Bible, and stuff like that. But for studies, I recommend a New American Standard Bible or ESV Bible, all right, for studies, okay? So I don't know. I think it's buffering, man. I'm not really happy with that. Okay, well, it might be buffering, or that might just be. Let me. Oh, it's at 720 for me. So let me bring it down. So maybe that'll stop the buffering. So if the video is going by smoothly, hit one. If it's buffering, hit two, right? So if it's going by smoothly, hit one. If it's buffering, hit two. Cash at hand, that's what's up. That's what's up. So I'm glad because then you can follow the dialogue, right? And that goes to show that you pay attention. And I'm extremely humbled and honored that you pay attention to the details. You're very meticulous in regards to surveying the information that's on this channel and making sense out of it because it's littered with a lot of good information. But nevertheless, so let's get back to what we were talking about. So what I want to do is I want to show y'all actually from that ESV Tanakh that I recommended, right? Because I have that. So let me pull that up real quick. Let me pull that ESV up real quick. Here it is. I'm gonna show y'all. And I can just share my screen again. So I'm gonna show y'all. Well, you know what? I can't show y'all because this is the Tanakh and we're in the New Testament. So that's not gonna help. So I guess I can show you Deuteronomy 16, whatever. But what I can do is I can definitely show y'all this so you can see what this actual Tanakh looks like. You can purchase it from Amazon. Like I said, get the ESV Greek interlinear and the ESV reverse interlinear for the Tanakh or the Old Testament, right? Jamali, no, I do not agree with that. Uh, Amasyahu Israel, yes, I've read Jeff A. Benner's work. I went through all of his work in 2014. And what I will say, his work is not academic, but it helps with getting beginners into the text. And what I will admit, though, is that it helped me to see the difference between the Eastern perspective of the text and the Western perspective of the text. And it was something that I learned, which is appearance versus function, right? Abstract versus concrete. He broke that down beautifully in his material, so much so that it helped me to really best analyze the text from an indigenous perspective, right? So Jeff Benner's work was good in getting me to see appearance versus function, appearance being the more Western, function being the more Eastern, and then you get abstract, which is more Western, and you get concrete, which is more Eastern, right? So he actually helped me to see certain things deeper than I was perceiving it previously when I was in Christianity dealing with the Old Testament, right? Jamali Lewis, if you're interested in what calendrical system that I utilize, like I said, is the ancient pre-exilic Israelite sacerdotal menological model. If you go to this channel and you'll see a playlist, and the playlist there is going to be on the ancient pre-exilic Israelite menological model. Click on that playlist and you'll see all the videos in which I discuss this in full detail, right? But what I want to do is continue to help cash that handout in regards to the Passover. So remember, in the text of the New Testament, you'll see in some translations, you may see the word Easter, right? You'll see Easter's there, right? So let's go and look into that deeper, to kind of like understand what's going on. Why is Easter showing up in your Bible, right? So I might have to look for my Latin Vulgate. But anyway, if you go to Acts chapter 12, verse 4, anybody that has a King James Bible, all right, it says, and when he had apprehended him, this has to do with James and Peter, he put him in prison and delivered him to the four quaternions of soldiers, and that's the regiments of soldiers, to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. Now, why is the word Easter there? Because Easter had already become a tradition in the UK at that time, all right, or the British Empire Kingdom at that time. So Easter was already a holiday. So now the translators are looking at the text. They see this word Passover and they take Easter and they put Easter in place of Passover. Why? Because the proto establishment during the Roman period time would be in the first century AD is when we actually have this developing understanding of what Easter is, right? But if you go back to the original language and we go and read, you see that the word there is Pascha, and Pascha goes back to Pesach. So that word there is Passover. So therefore, that word Easter is nowhere in the original Greek language. You don't have that word Easter there. So that's the first thing. If somebody pulls out the Bible and they read that word Easter, ask them, hey, if you go back to that original word, what does it say? It doesn't say Easter. And that's why if you go back and look at other translations, like for example, I'll read one for you. The New American Standard Bible says, when he had seized him, he put him in prison, delivering him to the 4 squads of soldiers to guard him, intending after the Passover to bring him out before the people. So it's only in the King James that you see that word Easter. So again, like I told you before, the King James in certain places is extremely accurate. Other places is dated. And then you'll see things like this where a translator is going to put, his personal holiday into the text. All right. That's why it's good to learn the underlying language. And in this case, it would be Greek, and or you can grab you, like I said, a Peshitta, and you can get a little bit more in depth in regards to the Syriac, which is Middle Aramaic, right? Um, so So that's the first thing. So the first thing is, hey, let's look up this word Easter. Is the word Easter in the Bible? Yes, in a translation, but if you go back to original language, is the word Easter there? No, it's not there, right? So the word Easter is not there. So it's data. Like when I do my parsings and my translations, I only parse out and translate from the data that is there. If the data is not there, and let's say the data, some information is necessary, when I do my parsings and then I do the translation, I'll put brackets around what needs to be inserted there in order for the actual translation to be cohesively coherent, right? Otherwise, it probably won't make any sense unless you read it back in the original language. But for the most part, I try not to translate something that is not there, right? So if I clearly see the word Pascha is there and it goes back to the Hebrew Pesach, I'm not going to translate that as Easter because Easter has the etymon itself. So if Easter has an etymon and it's not there, I'm not going to translate it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not going to do that, right? Some people may, but I'm not going to do that, right? So cash at hand, let me finish what I was saying. I went into Mark chapter 14 to try and give some context. So let me go back and get Mark chapter 14. And Mark chapter 14, I'm going to get the New American Standard Bible, which I'm going to read this from. It says, now the Passover and unleavened bread were 2 days away. So if the Passover and unleavened bread were 2 days away, that means what day are we at? So if the middle of the week is when you have Passover, 2 days prior to that would be what day? So you got during the Roman calendar, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now you have during this time, this is before the Gregorian calendar, right? So we have the Julian calendar, right? So at this time we have a situation where the way time is being reckoned is based on the Julian calendar, okay? From Julius Caesar, okay? And then you have the Hebrew calendrical model superimposed on top of that, right? But nevertheless, when we do the counting, you'll see it's not from Friday to Sunday. Like that's impossible to get 3 days and 3 nights from Friday to Sunday. I mean, that should be clear to anybody. But it's interesting because some Christian scholars have written apologetics for that instead of just admitting it's an error, right? Let me bring it up. Hold on. All right, so 2 days from the middle of the week, which would be Wednesday, Thursday. 2 days prior to that will be what? So you have your Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Excuse me, Sunday, Monday, right? That'll be one. Tuesday, Wednesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we got a Sunday, Monday, or we got like in the beginning of the week of the, I would say the work week or the business day, which would be your Monday. So that's 2 days prior to that Wednesday, right? Now another thing to note is, did he take Passover on the Passover day with the disciples before they apprehended him, or was it the next day, which is when the Passover is slain, they got his body down, and that evening everybody engaged in Passover, right? So did he have that Last Supper with his disciples the day before when the evening came in for that introduced the Passover day, full 24-hour cycle, and then transition into the daylight portion of that day, going into the evening or during that daylight portion of the day that he was crucified, and then they had to hang him, take him down before the evening because that was a what they call a high holy day or a high Sabbath or a day of rest, right? They got him down before that day of rest. So if we're looking at it from that perspective, the text seems to read that he was killed during the daylight portion of Passover, and they got him down before the evening when Passover transitions unto unleavened bread. So if he did eat with his disciples, it was the previous day, which was the evening of Passover, or the evening part of the 24-hour period that we will call Passover. All right. So this is clearly very, very important to understand, because if the next day in which he was crucified, they took him down, it was Passover day going into the evening, which started the day of unleavened bread, the first day of unleavened bread, which is a rest day or Sabbath rest day. They had to get everything done because they had to prepare that evening to eat the Passover, and then the next day they will rest from their labors. They would not work, right? So if we look at it like that, that means we have a Wednesday going into a Thursday, right? So we have a Thursday going to Friday, Friday going to a Saturday, Saturday going to a Sunday. The body of Yahusha, according to the narrative, is that he rose on the third day, right? So we have the daylight portions, right? Your Thursday, your Friday, your Saturday. Thursday during the day, Friday, Saturday, or 3 nights will be that evening, which is that Wednesday going into Thursday, that evening, then Friday evening, then Saturday evening, and by the time you get to Sunday, he had already risen. The reason why they did not discover that the body was missing on that Shabbat is because you cannot go to a dead body during a Sabbath day. So they had to wait until the evening. I mean, so not the evening, excuse me, the Bokir or the morning portion of the hours on Sunday to go and see the body, right? So he was already gone by that time, right? He had already risen according to the narrative. So I'm just sharing this for people that want to ask these questions to their pastor, or if the pastor is going to really break this down to the people, the pastor has to first go into the Torah and get you Exodus chapter 12, Leviticus chapter 23, and Deuteronomy chapter 16. You have to read these things first and understand it for a backdrop before jumping into the Brit Hadashah or the New Testament, right? And once you do that and you understand the backdrop, and you go to like a Mark chapter 14 verse 1 where it says, now the Passover and unleavened bread, because at this time it had already been intertwined, being one whole period of time, right? The Passover was also the same feast as unleavened bread by this time. Prior to this, during the Iron Age period, when it was established, it was not like that. It was separate. And then over time, they became integrated into one. And from my research, that occurred from the Babylonian exile. After the Babylonian exile, going back into the land to rebuild the temple and everything, the Nehemiah, Ezra, Zerubbabel reforms, when they found the book and they were reinstituting the Hagim or the feast, this is when they intertwine these two things, and then we see more of that integration during the Greco-Roman period. All right. I agree, Michael Woodward, right? So the first thing is the word Passover. It's only in the Easter. It's only in the New Testament. New Testament in the King James Version translation. First thing to ask is, hey, where is this word Easter there in the original language? The pastor has to go to a lexicon for you and look it up. And if he goes to the lexicon, first of all, if he goes to the lexicon, he's going to see the spelling of the word in the Greek. And guess what? It doesn't say Easter. When you transliterate it, it doesn't say Easter. The data is not there for the various consonants to translate into the consonants and the vowels that we get for the word Easter. It's not there. So the first strike is, hey, this didn't happen. That's number one. Number two, the backdrop of what Passover unleavened bread is, how it's reckoned, etc. He has to then give you Exodus chapter 12 and give you the story to understand what's going on. Then the summaries in Leviticus chapter 23 and Deuteronomy chapter 16. He has to then give you that information first. Once he gives you those two pieces of information, the third piece of information is if he was eating this Last Supper, what day of the week and what time was he eating the Last Supper? This had to be the evening that started Passover. When he was crucified, it was the next day. When he was brought down from the cross, there wasn't really a cross. It was an upright stake or a tree. It was called stauros. It didn't get the connotation to cross to about the second to third century, almost going to the fourth century. Actually, third, fourth century AD is when we get the connotation for cross for the word stauros in the Greek, right? But that's a sidebar. But nonetheless, he had to be taken down because that evening was the start of unleavened bread, when the Passover was eaten with the unleavened bread and the bitter herbs. And during that high Sabbath day, you cannot have a body hung on a cross. So you got to get all the bodies down unless the land will be defiled. As if the land wasn't already defiled with all those Gentiles there anyway. But nonetheless, one of their own, they had to get the body down before the evening of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So if that's the case, you have the evening to morning, and then you got evening to morning again, and you got evening to morning again. So when you count it like that, you'll see that everything finished out, your 3 nights and your 3 days, or your 3 days and your 3 nights. You got your night, day, night, day, night, day. So the night would be the what? The evening of the first day of unleavened bread. Then you got the day portion. Then you got the next evening in the day, the next evening, the next day. That's 3 days, 3 nights. Extremely simple. By the time you get to that evening, that third evening, so you have 1, 2, 3 evenings, 1, 2, 3 days. That day would be your Sabbath day, or what we call Saturday. Some people call Saturday, would be your Saturday. So he was already risen on that day. So by the time that we get to Sunday during the day portion, right? Because you got the evening of Sunday. Well, in the Hebrew terms, the evening and daylight, which would be another full day. By the time Sunday comes during the daylight portion of the day, he had already been risen previously, the previous day. So he had already been gone. So there's no way you get Friday to Sunday, because if you go for Friday, you have an issue. If the Julian calendar designates Saturday, and Saturday in the minds of the Jews is considered a Sabbath, it would be extremely difficult for you to have a 3 days, 3 nights, because that night going into that day would be your Sabbath. And during that time, well, actually, it wasn't until maybe Hillel II, much later on. But when you go and look at the calendrical systems, they were trying to do their best to keep the Sabbath day of the week and the Sabbath that you rest for unleavened bread separate, right? So these are things that the pastor will have to go into detail about, and things you'd have to ask some questions about, right? Shout out to Sister Monica Lamb in the building. Thank you for joining. Appreciate that. Um, Keith Jackson, I don't know what you're talking about right now. Don't you have to flee the devil too? What? I don't know what y'all talking about right now. Shout out to Jason Morrison in the building. But anyway, these are things to ask the pastor that he has to go into. How does he reckon time, the 3 days and 3 nights? How do you get, when you're looking at in the middle of the week period, how do you get to that period of time on Sunday? Ask them about the Sabbath. Were they allowed to go and see dead bodies on the Sabbath? Ask them that question as well. Ask them, is the word Easter actually in the original language, in the manuscript of the text? And then ask them to go into the Old Testament to kind of explicate on what the Passover and unleavened bread feasts are. All right. All right, so I think that should be enough. But again, Cash, I'm gonna send you that book, so that way you can read it and get more details for yourself. So I'm done with that. Let me just drop that. I'm done with that. Let me close this out. All right. So again, I'm just pretty much just testing this thing out. Which really wasn't anticipating on going in. But if y'all have another question, I'll take it real quick. Y'all saying a lot of interesting stuff in here. Who I don't know who Keith Jackson is. You said, "Am I running too?" Keith, what is you talking about, man? Keith, relax. It's all good. It's all good. So you asking questions here in regards to the book of Luke. Why are you giving me the book of Luke? What's the purpose of this? But let me deal with you, and then I'm out of here. Let me deal with this guy. I don't know who Keith Jackson is, right? But let me look to see what he's saying. He says, Why did Jesus lie in Luke 24:46 about rising from the dead on the third day? Right? This is what he says. Let's get Luke chapter 24, verse 46. And obviously, Keith is not aware of my messianic position, because if he was, he wouldn't even go to the book of Luke. But let's go. Let me entertain him. Let's go to the book of Luke. Okay. I hope my sister 916 Shannon is in the building, because she will also tear this up. This is like light work stuff, right? But look, let me rock with you. I'm gonna rock with you, right? And I can already tell that you're not even doing proper exegesis on this, right? But nonetheless, let's deal with it. Let me deal with it. All right. So let's get to Luke chapter 24, verse 46. And it says, "And he told them, this is what is written, the Christ will suffer and rise from the dead on the third day. And in his name, repentance and forgiveness of sins will be proclaimed to all nations, beginning in Jerusalem." All right. So he's saying, why did he lie about rising from the dead the third day? Now, please tell me where the lie is at. That's the first thing I want you to tell me where the lie is at. All right, Keith? Then he says, where do you find the words written Christ to rise from the dead on the third day in the law and the prophets? Jesus lied and said the creator Yah said these words. Now, Keith, I'm about to dice you up a little bit, okay? So let's just prepare for this, all right? Keith, here's my question for you. Show me one autographed manuscript of the Tanakh. I'll wait. Give me a reference for it, because every manuscript has a nomenclature. Please give me the autographed copy that you know of that exists. Not copy, excuse me. The autographed manuscript scroll that exists of the Tanakh. I'll wait. I'm going to wait. Watch, this is the easy body bag. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. Give me the autograph. Any autograph manuscript that exists for the Tanakh, give me the nomenclature for it so we can look it up right now. I'll wait. I'll wait. All right, we'll wait. We'll wait for you, and then I can move forward. Because if you cannot supply that to me, then we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. Watch this. Crickets. Crickets. I'm waiting. What happened to him? What happened to that boy? Okay. All right, so let's move forward. All right, because I'm gonna tell y'all right now, we don't have it. So there's no way he can produce that. So for him to say something like that, he's gonna say, "Stop running, you liar. I asked you a 1 Peter 3:15 salvation question. You are supposed to answer with meekness and fear." This guy is funny, man. Oh man, yo, y'all hit one if you want me to continue to entertain him, because I got several swords, man, and this could be a diced up session. He's gonna be the Zabak for tonight. If y'all want him to be the Zabak for tonight, let me know. And just so you know, humans can be a Zabak as well. I brought that out in my lecture, Capital Punishment, Human Sacrifice for the Atonement of Sin in the Bible. You'll go check that out. So hit one if you want him to be Zabak. If you want me to Zabak him, for me to make him a Zabak, you'll let me know. And a Zabak means a sacrifice, a slaughtered animal that's used for sacrifice. And I'm talking symbolically, figuratively speaking. Nobody's trying to kill or harm you in any way. All right, because sometimes people will bug out and they think like that. So y'all want me to 1 him or 2 move forward? Hit 1 if you want me to dice him up some more. 2 if you want me to move forward. So far, he has not produced the manuscript. All right, we're still waiting on that. He has not produced that yet. All right. So you want me to stop entertaining him? But it's fun though. I'm telling y'all, it's fun. This is easy stuff. This is for those of y'all who subscribe to the Brit Hadashah. And if you want to know my stance on the Brit Hadashah, there's several videos that I created. The best video to watch is very lengthy. It's about 4 hours. It's called Baptized in the Tradition of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. If somebody's watching this, if you want, you could drop that link in the chat and people can check that out. But that goes in detail on even the reconstructive process that I'm going through to bring forth a better version of the book of Matthew, right? But I explain what my position is as it pertains to the Brit Hadashah. I also have a couple of, matter of fact, just go to my videos, my playlist on the New Testament. I have a playlist on the New Testament. Check that out and you'll see what my position is on the New Testament, right? So Monica said, what type of program are you using? I'm using Xsplit Broadcaster. That's what I'm using, Monica. I don't know what Sinetta is using. I don't know if he's using Xsplit, Zoom, or something else. But I'm also going to try. I'm gonna try Zoom as well to see how that works. I like that a little bit better because I can bring various people on while I'm doing my broadcast. XSplit, somebody told me there's a way to do it. I have not figured it out yet, but I'm gonna see if it's possible. You're welcome. All right, so Michael wants me to cut him, right? Truth Seeker said, please school him. All right, so as y'all can see, he still did not produce the manuscript. So for him to say that somebody lied by quoting something that's written, please tell me what manuscript did they possess at that time? Because if they had a manuscript, the manuscript that they had probably had that written in it. Did you know that there was more than one scroll at that time? Are you aware of that or you're not aware of that? Let me know if you're aware of that. Let me know if you're aware of that. There was multiple manuscripts at that time. Y'all Christian liars. Wait, people. He says I'm a Christian. He called me a Christian. I don't know if this guy's being serious. He's joking. Y'all say he's a troll. He called me a Christian. Well, what I would like for him to do is type in my name, Divine Prospect, and type Christian, Christianity, whatever, and you'll see what Christians think of me. You'll see what they think of me. They'll see what they think of me. So for him to say that I'm a Christian is really funny. But what I'm doing is just dealing with him very tacitly. And the reason why I say that is because I realize that his level of study is really shallow because he just asked an asinine question and trying to lead to a red herring conclusion. It's really null and void, his argument. And if he was having a formal collegiate debate, he would lose simply off the strength of that. So for him to say he lied, but you don't know what manuscript they had at that time that had that. Did you know that there are thousands? Listen to this, my man, okay, Mr. Keith Jackson. Whether you're dealing with the Torah itself, whether you're dealing with the entire Tanakh, the Torah, the Nevi'im, and the Ketubim, whether you're dealing with the Brit Hadashah, what people call the New Testament or the Old Testament, whatever, there are thousands of manuscripts in existence. And there are various textual variants amongst these manuscripts. Therefore, there are different readings from manuscript to manuscript, different spellings from manuscript to manuscript, different syntactical, morphological anomalies from manuscript to manuscript. So when you see this, you understand that there was various scribes that was putting these manuscripts down. Even from the Tanakh itself, you have the Dead Sea Scrolls, you have the Nash Papyrus, you have the Septuagint, you have what's called the Proto-Masoretic text, and then we have the Masoretic text, which comes much later on, but the proto-form of it was the form that was written without the diacritic marks. My man, there's no way we can get even further in depth into this discussion, because for you to say that he lied, you have to first show us what manuscript that he used. You have to then prove to us that we have that same manuscript today, and number three, you have to give us an autograph. You cannot produce any of these things. And I know you have not been doing this level of research. I can tell by the questions you asking me. Nobody would ask a dumb question like that in academia. Only people who are religiously minded and have a biased agenda towards the New Testament would ask a question like that. And I'm not saying that you're dumb, you're stupid, that you're not smart, intelligent. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that your questions come from a biased, agenda-driven position. And because of such, it's very easy for somebody like me who has heard this argument a million times to easily dice it up. You don't want this work. So if I was you, I would just fall back, enjoy the rest of the broadcast because you're about to get off shortly, all right? Now, if you want to continue to get cut up, let me know and we can keep going in, all right? So anyway, Jesus said it was written. Is it written? Where? We don't know. Did you not hear me just say that? There were manuscripts, plural, that existed during that time. So he may have been quoting from a manuscript that they would have been familiar with, that they would have had access to, and that they would have been familiar with. This is what I'm trying to say to you. So if you're trying to relate that to a Masoretic text, it's going to be much different. Because I want to ask you, how many manuscripts of the Masoretic text type do we have in existence today? I'll wait. Give me a number. I'll wait. And then once you figure that out, tell me how many textual variants between manuscript to manuscript. I'll wait. So while he's getting that, let's move on with the rest of the discussion, what we're talking about, right? This is asinine, man. But I entertain things like that for the benefit of other people, right? I don't have a bias, even though I have a particular position as it pertains to both the Tanakh and the Brit Hadashah. But at the same time, when it comes to honest scholarship, I can still approach the text objectively and honestly. I don't have to be agenda driven and bang on it simply because I disagree with it. It's not that serious. And when people do that, they expose their agenda. All right. So obviously, this guy is not messianic. He only deals with the Tanakh only, and he has a beef with the New Testament. Therefore, he's selecting I would say, what's called the playbook plays that anybody would play when it comes to trying to bang on the New Testament. Next thing he's going to say that Paul was an Edomite Jew. Next thing he's going to say is that the Flavius family wrote the New Testament. The next thing he's going to say is that the New Testament misquoted. I mean, he's going to say stuff like this. This is the place that we're going, right? So you see what he's saying? All you're talking, you lying. Where? You can't show and prove. Liar, liar, liar. Oh man, y'all see Divine running? So people like this, we call them clout chasers. He's trying to chase some clout, but not once did he answer any question. I answer this question, and I answer this question and say, what basis do you have calling him a liar? Is it based on you using the Masoretic text type as being, or as if it's an autograph of the Old Testament or the Tanakh? Because if you're doing that, you've already fell on your own sword. I don't understand what's going on right now. Shout out to Sean Henderson in the building. I don't know what's going on right now. Divine Prospect doesn't run from nobody. Obviously, you're not familiar with my history. Okay, I've debated people in the collegiate academic level, and I've debated people in the Israelite community and in the conscious community. I don't run from nobody. My track record, you can type me up, Divine Prospect, on YouTube and see people that I debate. I don't run from nobody. All right, this right here, you're not built for this type of discussion, my man. If you are, let me know. I'll invite you onto this live discussion, and we can go back and forth live. Let me know if you're ready for that. All right? But if you're not, then wait till you put away childish things, and when you're ready to stand up like a man, then we can talk like a man. And then if we're talking like men, then we're going to derive it from an academic perspective and not from a religious, dogmatic, zealous position. All right? So let's fall back on this. You won't debate me. Yes, I will debate you on that. I will debate you on that, Keith. You're a troll. That's what they say. I try to give you the benefit of the doubt, but you're really trolling. All right? So you earned that title of troll. That doesn't mean you're dumb, you're stupid. I believe that you're ignorant in regards to the subject matter, and therefore you need some more upbringing, right? You need some more, curation, right? Some more maturity time, all right? Somebody needs to put you back in the oven so you can bake a little bit more with the information. You're not ready now. You're not ready. You're coming out with dough and not really bread. So you gotta fall back a little bit. You feel what I'm saying? When divine, bro. This is, if that's what you're gonna argue, it's a wrap for you, bro. I'm gonna hit you with at least 62 academic sources that I have on this subject matter. You name me 5 textual critics that deal with the New Testament and 5 textual critics that deal with the Old Testament, and show me and cite any one of their works in which they're making the same argument as you. I'll wait. It's not there. All right, so I'm going to continue to let him troll a little bit more. If he becomes insistent, then he's going to get blocked, right? But Keith, if you want to debate, let's do it. It's light work. This is going to be really bad for you, bro. After I'm done with you, I don't know what rock you crawled from under. And I'm not saying that disrespectfully. I'm saying it figuratively speaking. I don't know where you came from, right? Because I don't know you from a hole in the wall. But this is not what you want, bro. It's not for you. Fall back. See, I try to be, as you talking about being meek. I strive to be meek, but then there's people that bring the fire out. So now you're getting that fire. It's light work. And I don't just do fire, right? We do volcanic eruptions. It's much different over here. We don't just do fire. Okay. Exactly. Thank you, Phelps. Slight work. All right. So anyway, now that body bag has happened, now we got to call the coroner to take his body up out of here. But whatever the case may be, let's move forward. If anybody else has a quick question, let me know. Let me get out of here. So that way I can get some rest and start my day and try to be somewhat prepared for the live stream that's going to go down later on today. Okay. I don't know. If y'all want me to keep up this video, hit 1. Let me know. Divine is a fraud. Okay. Divine is a fraud. But Divine is doing more in the community than you doing. So how is Divine a fraud? How? because you're getting this work, you're getting caught up, and you're getting mad. It's okay. It's all right. There's actually AAs for people that have issues like this, right? So if you want to join an anonymous group for people that have cognitive dissonance, CDA, which is Cognitive Dissonance Anonymous, let me know. KHM, we may sponsor a program soon in the future for people that have cognitive dissonance, cognitive dissonance issues who are plagued with that. We want to do a Cognitive Dissonance Anonymous for people like Keith Jackson. For that, we're gonna try to help brothers like that out. He says Luke 24:46 is your downfall. Somebody please share the playlist with this guy in regards to my position as it pertains to the New Testament, because he's barking up the wrong tree. He really is. But it's okay. It's just a chihuahua barking, so it's not scaring nobody. All right. So anybody else have a quick question before I bounce? Let me know. Truth Seeker, yeah, it looks like that, right? He says I'm a false prophet. That's interesting. I would first have to say that I'm a prophet to be a false prophet. When did I ever say I was a prophet? This is funny. So Yoel Ben Yisrael, is this a real question? All right. You're saying to me, is it okay in the eyes of Yah for Israelite men to go after the daughters of the Gentiles? So that's a great question. I would say it has to do with allegiance, right? The reason why it's preferred for Israelites to marry amongst Israelites is for allegiance purposes, right? So if I was giving advice to somebody, I would say, hey, look, if you're in this truth and you're an Israelite, the preference would be to marry another Israelite, right? If a person chooses not to do that, that's between them and their creator, right? But I'm just saying the reason why the scriptures is very clear in regards to the Israelites marrying people from their own tribe was number one, to keep the bloodline pure, and number two, because if you're an Israelite that follows the statute, laws, and commandments, and you marry another Israelite that's following statute, laws, and commandments, that you guys will be on the same page, right? Because otherwise, if this person is a part of the Goyim and they have their other culture with them, and you're married into them, and now y'all have two diametrically opposed cultures, that's going to cause an issue. Right, so that's what I'm saying. Now, if there's a Gentile out there and an Israelite wants to marry that Gentile, and that Gentile has abandoned their indigenous culture and they want to cleave unto Israel, and that person chooses to take that person in to marry them, then I mean, those are some grounds to justify it, right? But preferably speaking, if you're an Israelite by blood, according to what your position is, and after being Israelite, you know that you have to adhere to your cultural values, cultural morals, ethics, etc., then you know that you want to line up with somebody else with the same. All right, so that's my position on that, and hopefully that assisted and helped you, right? Now he's calling everybody in here a liar. You see this? This is what trolls do, right? Because if you had the truth, you wouldn't have to do all this extra stuff, right? But this is really bad. So you know what, Keith Jackson? I don't know who this guy is. I don't know where this guy came from, right? But once in a while we get trolls here. Typically, we have a good chat where people ask constructive questions, give good feedback, etc. But once in a while we have people like this guy in here, right? And this guy's going to give me 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15, as if we don't know that it has to do with apologia. Bro, fall back. Fall back. I gave you an answer. You said, where is it written? And I'm telling you, I don't know where it's written because I don't have the manuscript that they was talking about during that time. If you can produce that manuscript that they had and that manuscript does not say that, then you win. But guess what? You're not going to be able to do that because all the scholars in the field that are doing the work on textual criticism, you're not doing. That's how I know that you don't know what you're talking about, because I've spoken to them. I've been to conferences with them. I know the general consensus when it comes to this type of information. You don't. You don't want this work, bro. It's okay. Cognitive Dissonance Anonymous is coming soon. It's coming soon. All right. So, yeah, you said block him. I think I'm going to do that. Let's go ahead and do that because he's. But look, this is what I'm going to do for you. This is what I'm going to do for you, Keith. Right? Let me put the information in here for you. All right. You see that? That's the email. If you want to debate, okay, that's the email address. You email me to that email address. Either me or somebody else will check your email, right? And what we'll do is we'll set this up on a neutral platform. Because even when I've debated people on this channel, it's been very fair. But you may not feel that way because you're saying everybody that's in this chat is cheerleaders. The people in this chat are not cheerleaders. The people in this chat think independently and think critically. And some of these people in the chat are not even Israelites. They don't care nothing about what we're talking about, but they like the information in the way that I present it, and they can rock with it. You feel what I'm saying? You know why? Because some of them respect the red, black, and green. That's why. So nonetheless, you don't want this work, but if you really do want this work, we can do it on a neutral platform. And what I'll do is we can set it up on Maccabees TV. If you want, you can do it on Talk with the Titans. We could do it on Global Media Inc. I could pick a number of different neutral platforms that we can have this debate on. We could do Debate Talk for you if you want. Matter of fact, we can do Solar Minds, Debate League. You let me know where you want to do this at. Any one of those platforms, I'm willing to go in those platforms and tear you up, bro. You're going to be the Zabak. That's your new name, Zabak. Zabak is his new name. Sacrifice. That's his new name. That's what he's doing. It's like me being a slaughterer and him being a sheep coming to me. And I know Passover is about to go down. This is what's going on. He's a sheep, a lamb that's a lamb that's walking into a slaughterhouse, and I'm there about to prepare for the Passover. This is what's going on right now. This is crazy. This is going on right now. But keep Jackson. It doesn't matter when. We could do it on the weekend, bro. So that way the people can see this. And it's not just the people that's here. It could be anybody. Once they watch this, bro, once this is done, because here's the thing. We could freestyle and do this all day, and I could tear you up, right? Pause. But if we're really gonna have a debate, you're not gonna be prepared for all of the information that I'm gonna bring. Like, there's no way you can prepare for it, bro. If I prepare for a debate for somebody, I'm gonna have at least 100 slides on a PowerPoint. All of them academically cited and sourced. There's no way you can get around this. No way. No way. Then we gotta go into the original language. Do you speak Koine Greek? Can you read Koine Greek? Can you parse and translate Koine Greek? Do you read Hebrew? Can you parse Hebrew? Can you translate Hebrew? Okay. Can you read Aramaic? Can you parse Aramaic? Can you translate Aramaic? Because when we have this debate, we're going to have to go through the languages. That's number one. Number two, we're going to go into textual criticism, and we're going to go through a survey of all the manuscripts in existence. I'm going to get into the text type families for you, and then I'm going to show you what the scholars say on it and my own understanding of it by being able to read the text myself. So you're going to be prepared to do textual criticism. Let's get into it. You're going to be prepared to go into the original language. Let's get into it. And then you're going to have to give any academic sources that support your position. You're going to have to provide that for me. You're not going to have that. It doesn't exist. Then you have to give me an autograph, which you don't have. It doesn't exist. Then you got to give me the manuscript that they were citing from during that time period when Luke chapter 24, verse 46, where they derived that information from. You don't have it. It doesn't exist. It's not there. And then you got to prove to me that my position is that I hold to the book of Luke. Then you got to do that. See, now you're in a pickle right now. You're in a pickle. And it's okay. It's okay. It's going to be really bad for you, bro. If you want this, let me know. I'll take time out of my busy schedule to prepare 120 slides for you. And the slides really, since it's going to be just inundating to do all of that work, I'm just going to copy and paste just books and references and, the original language. I'm going to read through it for you. We're going to break it down. We're going to go through this. So if you want this key, you're going to get this work. So look at this, y'all. He's still talking crap. I'm hoping he can read the original languages. He can parse and translate the original language, because I'm going to do that when we go into that. I hope he understands what textual criticism it is. I hope he knows what the general consensus is in regards to academia. I hope he can show me an autograph or cite one manuscript by its nomenclature that's given to it by academia. He's going to have to provide all of that. Then he's going to have to show me what my position is on a book of Luke based on public information that I've shared that you can search, whether it's on Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or whatever other kind of social media platform. This is not going to be good, bro. This is really bad. This is really bad. This is really bad. Really bad. But he wants this. So, look, this is what we're going to do, bro. Email me. Put in the subject matter. I want to debate you. Just say that in the subject. And then you choose what platform you want. You choose any platform. Even if you have a platform, I'll get on your platform and tear you up. However you want this work, let me know. Let me know. Typically, like, people that are not my peers, I don't debate them, but I think this would be a great learning experience for everybody else that, and this is me throwing a bone out for people who are Christians or who subscribe to the New Testament, because he doesn't even know my position on the New Testament. But nevertheless, I'm going to show y'all how to deal with people who have a biased agenda. It's very simple how to strip them, because you can tell that the way they ask questions and the way they try to debate, this is not something that would be done in an academic realm, because Nobody's going to be have this type of asinine way of thinking to try and present an argument like that. So it's not going to be a waste, Freddie. Actually, it'll be good for the people who actually are interested in all the information behind that subject matter. All right. He's talking about he has 2 rules. First of all, you can name all the rules you want. I don't have to agree to your 2 rules. Okay. He's going to say, I just have 2 rules. You see, this is what people do. They try to intellectually deduce their argumentation skills to something that they can understand. This is why I know this guy wants to limit the scope of the discussion to only 2 rules, because he has no clue about everything else that I just said. And he's going to try to choose 2 rules that's going to work in his favor that he believes is going to work against me. I already read this guy. This is simple. Bro, I had these conversations. I had about maybe 200-300 of these conversations, maybe in the past 10 years, bro. This is light work. There's no way you could win this discussion, this debate. No, you want a debate. It's not even a discussion. There's no way you can win this. There's no way you can win this. There's no way. But anyway, let's move forward, all right? All right, so anybody else got a quick question? Let me get off here. Keith, I already told you, email me. That's it. The people are getting very weary and tired of your foolishness. Email me your 2 little rules, all right? Your 2 little rules, okay? Zabak, that's your name, Zabak. And Zabak, I'm going to put you in Cognitive Dissonance Anonymous, all right? We're going to start that program just for people like you, okay? So CDA, we're going to sign you up for CDA, Zabak. All right, you're the sacrifice. You're the lamb that's walking right to the slaughterer right before Passover. All right, so that's the type of work you want. Email me. All right, so anybody else got a question? I appreciate that, Seeking the Truth Ministry. Anybody else got a question? I agree, Jason. I agree. Anybody else got a question? He's gonna say, "Thus saith law." And thus saith Yah in the law and prophets. And I asked him, which manuscript are you referring to? There are thousands of manuscripts. Which one are you referring to? And then once you get a reference to which one you're referring to, let's go into it and read it. We're going to do it together. Let's read it. Let's read it. Let's do it together. Mark Cleveland said, "Are you born again?" You know how you're born again? You got to get into Ezekiel. Ezekiel tells you how you're born again. And Yeshua Bar Yosef expected the Pharisees Nicodemus to understand what that meant. He says, wait, aren't you a teacher of the law and you don't know these things? How you don't know about being born again when it's right there in the Tanakh? So when we talk about the being born again aspect, one of the elements of the Melchizedek order requires for you to be born again. Okay? And the way that you're born again, you get the prerequisite in the book of Ezekiel. All right? So shout out to my brother, Pastor Johnson, who just joined the building. Shout out to you, Zakano Elder. All right, so this guy's definitely going to get blocked now. So I'm going to, actually, let me put him in timeout. Put him in a corner real quick. All right, so Zabak, I put you in a corner. All right, so sit in the corner for a little bit. All right, think about what just happened. All right, and actually the magnitude of the lava that's about to spill onto your little hut that you have, your straw hut. And you want to contemplate first if you want to stay there and try to fight the lava, which is really not wise, or if you just want to avoid it altogether. And my recommendation would be the latter. Okay, trolls don't last long on this in this chat on this channel, or coming up against me. Right? I try to be meek, humble, respectful, but sometimes y'all bring it out, so it's all good, right? Yeah, children do need time out, so he's in timeout. All right, so I answered your question, Mark Cleveland, and like I said, according to the paradigm that I subscribe to, yes, I am. Yes, I am. All right. So Zion Lex is a Hebrew that does not believe in the New Testament or the Messiah, correct? When you say belief, I guess that's accurate. He subscribes to the fact that the historical character Yeshua Bar Yosef existed, and he subscribes to the fact that the narrative that is spoken of him in the revolutionary sense is what he agrees with. He has issues taking this historical character and saying that he's the Messiah of Israel. Yes, he has an issue there. So that is where he has. Now, in my position, Sean Henderson, I don't know how familiar you are with my work. If you are, I don't think you would have asked that question, but what I'll do is I'll assist you anyway, because I'm going to make sure that you have the proper perspective in regards to my position. But I identify myself as an Israelite, okay? So as an Israelite, my subscription to the New Testament, or the Brit Hadashah, would be the book, the reconstructed Brit Hadashah, which hinges primarily on what's called the book of Matthew. Now, if you want to know what this reconstructive process is, I have a 4-hour video that's called Baptized in the Name of the Father, the Son, Baptized in the Tradition of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And in there, I go through that for you, and I explain that for you in depth. Okay, so my go-to synoptic gospel is Matthew, and then after Matthew, then is Mark, then is Yochanan, John, and then is Lucas last, right? But I normally hinge on the book of Matthew, and doing a reconstructive analysis of the history, the manuscript, and the theology has to be reimagined in order for you to really get the true Hebraic message from the Brit Hadashah. And again, go to the playlist that I have on this channel that deals with the New Testament, and I go more in depth in that as well, right? So my position is, the scripture says in Nehemiah chapter 9 verse 27 that there were many saviors that was sent to Israel, right? So Yeshua Bar Yosef was one of those last saviors that was sent to turn Israel away from the traditions of men, from the Hellenistic mindset, and bring them back to the Father, and prep them in anticipation to receive the kingdom of Yah when it comes down. But in the interim, to go reach out to your brothers and wake them up, right? So that way they also can be in preparation, waiting for the kingdom by doing work, not waiting for no rapture. All right, so Yeshua Bar Yosef, that was what he came to do. And if you want to know more about that, he initiated the Melchizedek order that was always there during the patriarchal times of Abraham, right? Via Melchizedek. So I go into all of that in those videos in that playlist. Take your time. Please go through those videos, and once you do, it'll answer all your questions as it pertains to my position, as it pertains to the New Testament. This is why I know when trolls like Keith Jackson jump into the chat, he has no clue what my position is, right? So it would make sense for him to take some time to research my work first before he wants to challenge me on that, all right? So Sean Henderson, yes, I hope that answered your question. Anytime, you know I got y'all, no doubt, all right? 1159, when did I say the Talmud was a holy book? First of all, 1159, you had left a comment in regards to that. What I want you to do is cite the passage from the Talmud that says that. Do that. What I'm going to do for you is this. If you're going to make a statement and then follow that statement up with the question, that statement that you just made is unverified. So until you can substantiate your statement with a citation, it's going to be very difficult for me to entertain the follow-up question. All right, because it's based on a faulty premise. So what you will have to do, 1159, is please go get for me a source citation of what you're saying right now, post it there, and what we're going to do is that we're going to go into the language of the Talmud and go to the translation and see if what you're saying is actually what is there. Because there's been, and I mind you, if you've seen my lecture on here called How Do We Walk It Out, you'll know what my position is as it pertains to the Talmud. Okay, but nevertheless, there's more than one Talmud. So are we talking about the Babylonian Talmud? We're talking about the Jerusalem Talmud. Which one are we talking about? And there's a context, a background context for each one. And then when you talk about the Talmud, who was the person that we're talking about? Are we talking about parts of the Mishnah, the Gemara, or the commentary that's latched on top of that? What part of it are we talking about? Give me a reference, and once you give me a reference, then we can have a discussion. All right, and we can go from there. All right. How do we better connect with these Hebrews in Africa like you do? Do you have steps for outreach? So the Hebrews in Africa that I communicate with are based on ones that have reached out to me. There are people who are authors, right? I'll give you an example of some authors. Remy Alona is an author. Odu Magal. Whoa, I don't want to mess his name up. Hold on. Let me make sure I get his name right. I want to make sure I get his name right. Hold on real quick. I don't want to mess the brother's name up. But anyway, these are authors who have written works in regards to Israelites in West Africa. All right. So the brother's name is, let me make sure I get this correct, Odi Mogalu. There it is. So Odi Mogalu, Remy Alona, Yosef Mensa, and my brother Akweti Ama. All right. These are four individuals who I extract information from in regards to Israelite presence in West Africa. All right. Now, on top of those individuals, on top of that, there are other people that have watched me on YouTube or seen me on social media who are in Africa, who are Israelites, and they reach out. And then there's congregations that I am in communication with who also do, they frequent these areas in West Africa and they speak with them. So in regards to us, people who are part of KHM will get access to all of the resources that I have access to, and they can reach out to brothers and sisters there. Now, my concern is reaching out to the Israelite brothers and sisters that's in West Africa that have converted to Second Temple Judaism. And my objective is to reach out to those brothers and sisters and tell them, hey, look, and we're going to talk more particularly of the Igbo people. So that's what you get your Odi Mogalu or your Remy Alonas, and say to them, hey, look, whoa, you got to go back to Amenama, and then you got to go back to Odi and Allah, right? Or Odi and Allah, right? When you go back to your indigenous culture, that's where the preservation or the time capsule of your Israelite cultural practices is at. It's not in converting to Second Temple Judaism, because your forefathers were from the 10 tribes of the north, right? And or pre-Talmudic or pre-exile Judites and Levites. Therefore, the Second Temple Judaism religion is nothing that they would have been familiar with. So why are you converting to that? So you could be identified as a Jew universally by those people who are Orthodox Jews. You don't have to be recognized by them to identify as being an Israelite, not a Jew. So as far as outreach is concerned, we continuously get, communication from brothers and sisters that's in West Africa. And my objective is to go back to the ones who have converted to Second Temple Judaism and tell them you don't need that. If you really want to identify with your Israelite heritage, it's encased in your indigenous culture. All right? So Omet and Allah, Odi and Allah, one is the cultural aspect or the custom aspect. One is the religious core aspect of what Western world calls religion. And in these things, you can extract from it what's called halakha, right? Because it's the way that they follow Torah over the period of time of them being isolated and being in West Africa. And then from their system, you can extract the halakha from it, right? And then the elements that don't work in alignment with proper halakha as derived from the Torah is stuff that was from the indigenous population that was there in West Africa before the migration of the Israelites got there. And then when they got there, met up with them, acculturation occurred. Cultural fusion went both ways, and then enculturation happened where they fused and became one entity. And then now subsequent generations are growing up in this new environment, right? And when we do a cross-cultural analysis, this is where we can parse out these practices from ancient Israel and what they do there currently, and be able to align to say, okay, if Halakha was developed during this time period and also during this time period, would they compare to each other? And then we go into the ancient pre-Islamic Israelite customs, such as pouring libation, right? Such as casting lots, such as ancestor veneration, such as building altars, such as tutelary spirits. All of these things are also present in a lot of these West African tribes that we identified as having Israelite lineage. All right. So hopefully that answers your question in regards to reaching out to them. As far as outreach, when you're part of the organization, you'll get the contact, speak to any of these individuals if you so like. Like I said, 4 of them are authors that have spoken on this. The other ones are just people that I know who are in West Africa, who either have congregations or just people that are watching YouTube trying to understand more, be more enlightened. But you'll get access to that if you are definitely part of the organization. We got you. All right. So with that being said, he said, I ran and blocked you. How did I block you when you was put in timeout? Nobody blocked you. As obviously you're still here, so I didn't block you. All right. Devon, how long you been an Israelite? I never seen you before the year 2000. Well, you know why you didn't see me before the year 2000? Because YouTube didn't exist and you were not locally where I was at. So how would it be possible for you to know that I was an Israelite? But anyway, if you want the background story in regards to my history, I put it on several videos on this channel. You can search for it and you can get it yourself. All right. All right. So I'm still waiting on that, my brother. 1159. Please give a cite the source that you're referencing. Okay. All right. Let me see. Only the truth. Did you are you familiar with my position on New Testament? Because I have to ask that as a preface before I even address it, because it would behoove you to go back and see what my position is before you ask me certain questions, because certain questions, it just doesn't make sense for me to answer because it's not my position. You feel what I'm saying? It's not my position. Cool. That's an excellent question. Bezaliel Yisrael. So you talking about DNA? Go to AfricanAncestry.com. All right. Get your DNA test there. See which West African tribe tied you back to, and then from there we can work on letting you know which tribe. All right. Of the 12 tribes is connected to that West African tribe. All right. All right, so let's see. All right, so only the truth, you said no. That's why you're asking me. Okay. So what I'm gonna do for you, only the truth, is I'm gonna summarize it as best as I can, but I would love for you to go back and check out my playlist in regards to the New Testament, and you'll see what my position is as it pertains to the New Testament. All right. So your question is about salvation, right? So what is your position on the New Testament? Okay, hold on. This keeps jumping. What's your position on the New Testament that we have to go through New Testament Christ's name? So, my position on the New Testament is that I follow what's called the reconstructed Brit Hadashah. If you want to know what the reconstructed Brit Hadashah is that we go to sources that connect the text back to its Hebraic essence. Okay? The way that we do that is that we first look at the Israelites or Yahudim at the time who was following Yeshua Bar Yosef and see what was their perception of him. Once we do that, we go to the church fathers and their documentation in regards to the Hebrew version of the New Testament, more particularly the book of Matthew. From there, we reconstruct from there through textual criticism by going more to the Eastern texts, such as the Curtonian Gospels, the Old Syriac Sinaiticus Palimpsest, and even the Peshitta, and use that as the foundation in which to textually compare the reconstructed original to the Koine Greek manuscripts, and then from there strip away anything that does not go into alignment with the previous two prerequisites that I just mentioned, and then from there we reconstruct the book of Matthew, or at least that's what I hinted my basis on. Now, in regards to Yeshua Bar Yosef, I explained to earlier what his purpose was, but if you want to know more in depth what that is, go back and watch a video called Capital Punishment, Human Sacrifice for the Atonement of Sin in the Bible. Go back, watch that video, and I answer that question for you in detail. All right, so he's connected more to the Melchizedek order, and then we talk about why the Melchizedek order is the patriarchal priesthood in the Bible, and why that Melchizedek order is fundamentally important in order for us to have a more modern task, as opposed to what we're left off with when Malachi, when it ceases, okay? And then we see what occurs in the Greco-Roman period and why the message that Yahshua gave in its Hebraic essence, how does that pertain to people who are Israelites that want to follow the Most High today? How is it beneficial? And we explained that in that video. So go back and check that out, all right? Cash at hand, I didn't see what your question is. So I guess some people are new here. Shout out to Pastor Johnson in the building. That great gathering Hebrew conference was awesome. I know I did not get my breakdown of it yet. Again, this is not even an official live stream. This is just playing around, but I'll probably leave it up since I'm testing anyway, whatever the case may be. But anyway, but that was a great conference, and I look forward to the next one in October, and I will give my breakdown on that sometime soon. So Shema, I've been on here for an hour and 34 minutes, which is really the cutoff limit. Going forward, I'm going to limit my live streams to an hour and 30 minutes. All right. Uploads, I'm going to try to make them no more than 30 minutes unless it's a lecture, and then I'll upload that. If it's an hour and a half, 2 hours, I'll put that up. But what I'm going to do is give y'all short videos with good information and keep it under 30 minutes. And the live streams going forward, when the official live stream, it's not even an official live stream, it's going to be an hour and a half. And the reason why is because we went over the analytics for the channel, and we saw the engagement in regards to the amount of minutes that people watch as it pertains to videos that's 2, 3, 4 hours. Even videos that's 2, 3, 4 hours, y'all are watching it. Almost, I would say most of the videos from the past couple of years has over 1,000 views. You know what I'm saying? So people are watching videos that are extensive, and it's because I don't post videos every day. Sometimes I may even post videos every week. So there's enough information for people to go back to these old live streams or lectures, and it'll take you some time to get through all the information. So sometimes that's why it's typically lengthy, is because we don't do as many videos, and because of such, whenever there's a drought, we have the well there you can drink from. All right. Sean, I'll be back in Florida in May. I'll be in Tampa, and then I'm going back in October for the second conference that Pastor Stephen Johnson is going to be hosting soon. All right. So Victor Alvarez asks a great question: do we still have to get physically circumcised? Physical circumcision is preferred because it is a cultural mandate. Okay. So being that as a cultural mandate, if you can get circumcised, then that is what the suggestion is. If you cannot get circumcised, it's not the end of the world, right? Again, a circumcision is a token of the covenant. And being that it's there, every time you go to the bathroom, you're going to be reminded of that covenant. Okay, it's just like having fringes. Okay, as a matter of fact, circumcision came before the fringes. So fringes help to reinforce what the circumcision for males is already supposed to be doing, right? So the recommendation, because it's a cultural mandate, is to be circumcised. Where do we get this form of halakha from outside of the scriptures? Well, the scriptures show in the book of Shemot that if any foreigner, stranger, right, ben Nakar, a goy, or whatever, wants to engage in Pesach or Passover, that they have to be physically circumcised, them and their household, which means these are grown men that are getting circumcised, right? It wasn't in the text. Israelites are circumcised. When you see that Dawid is going against Goliath, he calls Goliath an uncircumcised blah, 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 blah. Because the difference between the Israelites and a lot of their neighbors was circumcision, and when circumcision was done, which was on the 8th day. If we go back to some of the tribes that's in West Africa today, namely the Igbo peoples, we see that they still get circumcisions. And if there's Igbos that are born outside of Igbo land, decide to engage back into their culture, they go and they get circumcised. So circumcision is a preference, right? It's preferred. But if you cannot get circumcised, then you just can't get circumcised. Or if it poses a health problem or something of that nature, then you don't have to get circumcised, right? But it's preferred because it's a cultural mandate, okay? Now, in my case, and not to be too personal, my parents had me circumcised when I was a baby, right? So, it's not like I woke up and like, oh man, I'm an Israelite in the truth, and I'm like, man, I gotta go get circumcised, right? So even people that follow West African spirituality, you'll see that the tribes, like I said, the Igbo tribes and even Yoruba tribes that get circumcised as part of their cultural mandate. You know what I'm saying? So Clinton Weston, I don't know what you're referring to, but I will be at the event in Detroit in July. All right. So the circumcising of your heart, Mark, I agree with you 100%. That's Devarim chapter 10, verse 16, but not important, which says circumcise the foreskin of your heart. So that is also important, because if you get physically circumcised as an ethnic marker, it doesn't mean anything if your heart is not open to Yah, because you could be physically circumcised and have a heart of stone. So what good is your physical circumcision? Right? Just to know that you're in a covenant. Well, if you know that you're in a covenant, it should remind you that your heart needs to be off, circumcised, vulnerable, and exposed so that Yah can deal with it. Matter of fact, I was trying to think of a message in regards to what I'm going to teach this upcoming Sabbath that I'm teaching at HCA, and I'm probably going to deal with circumcision. I think I'm going to deal with circumcision. That's really interesting. I think I'm going to deal with circumcision. Appreciate that. Shema, you was not lying about that. So, Keith Jackson, you still trolling in here. I told you to email me, so now you're gonna get timed out again. All right, I'm gonna have to time you out again. Put you back in the little kid's corner again. All right, because you don't know how to behave, so you got to go in the little kitty corner. All right, so let me set you up for that right now. Again, you have some time and time out to think about all of this, right? Like I said, you have a straw hut that's at the base of a volcano, and the volcano just erupted. So it's up to you if you want to stay there or not, right? But it's solely up to you, okay? And I say that with all respect. All right. So let's go and time you out real quick because you acting crazy. Um, and give you some time right there. All right. There we go. All right. Um, let's see. Mark Cleveland, I think you're a Christian. You may be a Christian. You may be a Christian. It seems like you're a Christian. He said Christ saved us from judgment of the law, and the law is still standing. Well, you're still going to be judged. So even if you're a Christian, you believe in Christ, you're still going to be judged. And what do you think you're going to be judged by? What do you think you're going to be judged by? You see, there's a thing called the Noahide laws, and these are universal laws that mankind was expected to follow after the flood, right? No matter what tribe you're from. Then you got more, I'm not going to say ethnic, but you got more culturally based laws that came about with Moshe, Sinai, etc., right? And then you have these secondary laws, the oral tradition, that then ended up in written form, first with the Mishnah, later on with the Talmud, the Gemara, when the Talmud was completed about 500 CE, right? So anyway, he said you're not going to be judged for sin. That's interesting because the scripture says something a little bit different than that, but nevertheless, I'll be judged for service, not for sin. Hey, if that's what you believe, that's what you believe. Okay. Um, there you go. Did you, Mark Cleveland, read that comment right above you by Amas Yahu Israel? Please read that. All right. Please read that. Seeking the Truth Ministry, facts. Straw men have no place in intellectual discourse. You know why? Because if a straw man was to come up in front of me, I can't even talk to a straw man. And any of you ever talked to a scarecrow before and see if you got dialogue back? Dialogue with the scarecrow, if they were able to speak and respond back to the things you say, they're not able to do that, right? So it's crazy that he's drawing a straw man. He's arguing with a straw man. He's not even arguing with me. He's arguing with a straw man. But I think that circumcision. I gotta find out what I'm gonna call the lecture. I'll find that out. I'll figure that out. Anyway, yeah, Jason, that would be good, right? Okay, you see? So for a person to say that people are cheerleading me, no, everybody in this chat that follows this channel, even if you're new to the channel, if you're new to the channel, hit the thumbs up. If you like what you see, all right, subscribe to the channel. Go back, hit that red subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you can know when we go live, and hit that thumbs up button, all right? We got 55 people watching now. We had like 60 earlier. So hit the thumbs up, family, that you're there so that this video can show up at the top when you do a search and that more people can get access to this video, all right? But going forward, like I said, I'm going to add another piece of data on this screen, but I'm going to keep the screen like this because I think this is a good way to get started. I think y'all like that as well. Okay, he said Paul's decoration. Okay. Who was Paul's audience, Mark? I don't know if you're what your ethnicity is, Mark. Maybe you can share that with us. Not saying that has a heavy burden on what we're talking about, but it helps, right? Shout out to Darkwan Asuf Ya in the building. All right. But like I was saying, the people that follow this channel are critical thinkers, right? These people know the scriptures, they know history, archaeology. That's why they're able to follow the content that's on this channel. For somebody to belittle, the community that supports this channel, you don't even have a seat at the table, right? Because everybody here that is in this chat that's been following the channel for some time, they've been attracted to this channel because they can relate to the information because they're on the same journey. So it's apparent that when trolls jump in here, they're not on the same journey. Warner, I don't know. I got to call him at 12. That's why I got to get off here and get some sleep so I can be prepared for that. But it's supposed to be like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There's some things I want to do later on in the day. That's why I said I don't know how long that Maccabee session is going to be before I try to set up spiritual combat. I probably do spiritual combat next Sunday. before I go see my family. So I'll probably do that next Sunday. I might do the debate today. I'm gonna have to hit Gorilla Hebrew up and him or Deacon and see if they're still doing that debate with the Christians tonight or whatnot. Shepherd saying, Divine, when will you be visiting Ghana? I would love to visit Ghana this fall, but it probably won't happen to next spring. All right. So when I go there, I have a mission because I know people that are there now who are Israelite, who identify as Israelites. And I really want to rock with them. Shout out to Seeking the Truth Ministry for your donation. Thank you so much for your donation. Seeking the Truth Ministry, I truly appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. All right, so let's take a look quick. I don't know who Manco Uncle is. I don't know. Family, make sure you also share this link on every social media platform. I'm going to clip it off at 2 hour mark. Right now, we are at the 1 hour and 45 minute mark. So we have less than 15 minutes and I'm going to cut this short. All right. Victor, he's not aware of that. I'm sure he's not aware of that. But, I mean, nevertheless, he'll realize that because I mean I don't really even have to address the chat. The people that have been on this channel for some time, they speak the same language I speak, so they'll be able to give you a lot of good feedback in here. Sean says, Yah has shown me more in the last 4 months than I ever learned in 40 years at my Christian church. Hallelujah. Praise the Most High for that. Praise the Most High for that, Sean. I'm truly happy and excited for you on this new journey. And, from now until the day you die, you're going to learn maybe so much that you can't even fathom, right? I'm still learning. I don't know everything. I'm still learning. And, I think it's an incredible journey as well where Yah has brought me into being an Israelite all the way up to this point. And that not only am I learning, that I can also be a contributor to help others grow and learn as well by serving them. All right. I appreciate that, Sean. And those are my other two brothers as well, right? They also have great teachings as well. They all have there's different flavors, right? There's vanilla, there's caramel, there's chocolate. There's different flavors, and all of us, we all have different. I have a distinct flavor. Zion Les has a distinct flavor. Mighty Hebrew has a distinct flavor. Nazi Yashuvel has. Everybody has distinct flavors in the community. You know what I'm saying? Gorilla Hebrew and all of them. Everybody has distinct flavors. If you like what this tastes like, then this is for you. If not, then I can easily recommend you to other brothers that I know who are putting out good information as well to see what works for you, right? I'm not here to start a cult or following or whatnot. People do follow this ministry. People do like my teachings. People are part of KHM. But I never say that is that's what you have to do. Like, I don't lock nobody down because I understand that you cannot control growth. All right. You cannot control growth. The only people that control growth are scientists that are doing cultural studies on microbes in a lab. All right. A lot of times they try to stop growth or they try to redirect growth. And remember, some growth is good if it's according to the right guidelines, and some growth is bad, like cancer. Cancer is the proliferation of cells that have no means of going through a process that's called apoptosis. When something goes awry because of a malignant DNA, where issues was not corrected in the nucleus of DNA, and or mitochondria hypoxia, in which the cytoplasm has to process glucose or glucamine in for a means of deriving energy, right? So the mitochondria is not destroyed completely, but it's hypoxic and or it has suffered some kind of trauma, and because of such, the body has to go through a secondary phase of energy, right? Or a process we call ATP. But that's something different. That's for the cancer lecture. I get more in depth into that. But the point I'm trying to make is that growth is good if growth is going towards the right direction and it's being pushed by something positive. All right. So you said next week, next weekend. What day and what time, Keith? Email me the day and time and we will go from there. It's very simple. Give me the platform, the date, and the time. All right? And we'll go from there. It's very simple. So I'm looking here. I don't see where you sent me an email, Keith. So you're still trolling, but you have not sent one email. I don't know what's going on. 11:59. I'm still waiting for your reference. All right, you still got to post that reference in regards to the Tanakh. Excuse me. The Talmud. Which Talmud and cite which entry in the Talmud. Let me see how we doing on time. We got 10 minutes left, family. 10 minutes and we out of here. All right. Pastor Johnson, the service starts at 1 p.m. On the Shabbat, but it will be recorded. So it's going to be, I'm going to try to live stream it. Now, here's the challenge. HEA doesn't have Wi-Fi anymore because the place that they're renting it, the owner that they're renting it from, no longer has the internet there. So we have to make do with hotspot. But the problem with hotspot is that you don't have unlimited gigs when it comes to hotspot. Now, there's things you can do to manipulate it and pull it from the stream that your cell phone is pushing, uploading, downloading data from. But that requires a lot of work and getting around how the cellular networks are set up. But nonetheless, we would have to stream it from the live stream it from the official camera that I have, my 4K LG, my 4K Logitech Brio camera. Won't be able to stream it from there off of cellular data, right? So I'll probably stream it from my cell phone because I have unlimited data on my cell phone. So I'll probably stream it from my cell phone and then record the session from my Logitech Brio 4K webcam, okay? Which is a great webcam. Matter of fact, if you go back and watch a lecture entitled How Do We Walk It Out, that was actually done from my Logitech Brio 4K webcam and not from my Sony 4K camera. It actually came out better than my Sony 4K camera. So that lecture is going to begin at 1 p.m. I probably won't start speaking until 1:30, 2 o'clock. But that's what time it'll be. But I think, now that I think about it, I think circumcision will be really good. I want it to be an edifying message, an encouraging message, an empowering message. So it won't be really scholarly or academic or deep, even though I may have traits of that littered throughout the characteristic of the lecture, like I've done in previous lectures. Those of you interested, I have a playlist that's called Edification. Click on that playlist if you need to be edified, encouraged, empowered, or whatnot, and you get an idea of how we do those type of messages, right? That I'm going to do this upcoming Saturday. All right. So anyway, with that being said, family, if you don't have any other questions, there's 7 minutes and some change left. Let me know before I get off. I was not anticipating on this session to be this good. But I mean, hey, it is what it is. Yeah, just shoot. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna record it and live stream. I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna live stream it on Facebook Live, and then I'm going to record it on my Logitech Brio 4K webcam. All right. Excellent question, Bezaliel Yisrael. Yes, I did answer that already. Go back and watch the lecture entitled How Do We Walk It Out? And I talk about that there. And in the other lecture I did on, the Israelite time capsule left in West Africa, that one as well, I talk about that. But the reason why our Israelite family in West Africa is adopting Jewish law, or what is called Jewish halakha, or Second Temple Judaism, or going towards Orthodox Judaism or conservative Judaism, is simply because they want to get recognition from that community to be identified as a Jew. And you are either identified as a Jew as one through your matrilineal lineage, which comes from the Mishnah, and I go into depth in that into the lecture, and or the type of halakha, your conversion into Jewish halakha, right? So if they convert into Jewish halakha, then they would be identified as Jews by conversion by the universal or worldwide Orthodox Jewish community. That's why they're doing that, right? Because there's benefits in identifying yourself as a Jew, right? According to society's definition of a Jew, as opposed to maintaining your indigenous culture. Now, again, I read a source from Edith Bruder, and when she did her analysis, and again, she's very critical of anybody claiming to be Jews, black Jews in West Africa, or anywhere in Africa for that matter. But she went and identified 3 types of, and this is talking about the Igbo, right? 3 types of Igbo as it pertains to the scriptures, right? Or cultural identity. The first one is the Hebrewists, Those are the ones that I identify with, right? The second one are the ones that create synagogues and practice Orthodox Judaism. The third ones are the Sabbatarians. So those are the three kinds. The one that they mainly focus on is the second type, which is the ones that are trying to convert to Orthodox Judaism, and they do everything that you've seen in Second Temple Judaism, and they even have their own synagogue and everything like that. That's the ones that they use as a sleight of hand to distract you away from the Hebrewists that have the best case for Israelite identity. And then the last one, the Sabbatarians, is way more of them than they are the first two. And they're like Christians, but they have like a Jewish flavor. It's almost like Messianic Judaism, right? Because they keep the Sabbath, and some of them keep the feast days, and it's almost like the Seventh-day Adventists, right? So there's benefits, and if you want to know the history behind that, it goes back into the Biafra War, right? And even before the Biafra War, during the colonialism, when they were subjugated to the British. So you actually got to study the history. What I try to specialize in, since there's a lot of information, is the Igbo, right? The Igbos, who I try to specialize in, because I have ancestry that goes back to the Igbo, right? So what we have to do is be able to look at their history, and from their history up until after the Biafran War, to see why they're trying to get recognition from the state of Israel as being Jews, so they can get a form of relief, right? That's why we over here in Americas who wake up have an obligation to reach out to those brothers and sisters there and provide them resources, understanding, information, assistance, etc., so they don't have to convert to Second Temple Judaism and align themselves with those Jews in the land. All right. And Victor, if that's your conviction, you're good. The bottom line is your heart circumcised? Are you trying to engage into the cultural paradigm of being an Israelite? So I don't know what your personal journey is, Victor, but you can definitely email me, and if there's something I can do to help you, me or anybody else in Kingdom Harbinger Ministries, we will do just that. All right. So here's my email address right there for you, Victor. You can definitely shoot me an email, and if I can assist you more, let me know. Thank you so much, my brother, Seeking the Truth Ministry. Lacey J, the Truth channel. Yes, it's similar to people saying Eloi or Eloe or El or Elohim. They say Allah, right? And that's the Arabic pronunciation of what's called God, just like Elohim, El, Elohe, etc., which would be said, or Allah, which we would say in the Aramaic or in Syriac, which is another word for God. And you'll see the Syriac Christianity's influence on the Nabateans, and then eventually the Arabic language for those Muslims that had converted from the indigenous culture to Islam, right? So that's why you'll see some Israelites may be saying the word Allah. Some of them identify as Moorish Israelites, right, or Moorish Jews, and they'll use that term Allah, etc., right? I appreciate that, Isaac, not Ishmael. I appreciate that. So 11:59, you put getting 57A, right? So this is what I want to ask you, and this is just so you can go back and research first before you make certain comments like that, right? So when we go into the Babylonian Talmud, right? I want you to please copy and paste what you just referenced. Copy and paste it into the chat. All right. And I'll probably end off on this, right? Because I have the Safari in front of me, right? This is from the William Davidson Talmud that anybody can look up online. And I have 57A right in front of me. So what I want you to do is just copy and paste it. Now, what I also want you to do is look up what is Gittin 57A. What does that word Gittin mean in Aramaic? That's number one. Number two, and what tractate of the Talmud is that written in? That's extremely important, because if you don't understand that, then you cannot take something like this and charge it against the Talmud. And again, I am not a full supporter of the Talmud. I use it for reference points because it helps to identify Second Temple Judaism and Orthodox Judaism, right? And gives you more insight into the Pharisees, right? So that's why I reference it, right? I'm not saying it's an evil, bad, wicked book. I'm just saying I don't prefer it, right? I only use it when it comes to using it as a reference, as I would with any other book, scholarly book that I use as a reference. Doesn't mean I agree with everything that the author says, right? Um, but what I want you to understand is that when we look at this, you want to know what Gittin is, you want to know what track tape that is, and you want to know why is this discussion happening, because there are a lot of divergent commentary that appears in the Talmud, right? That's unrelated to the Mishnaic rulings, right? And other things in the way that it's laid out. So if you're going to take that and just throw it out there, I have to ask you, are you familiar with the background of what this is? Because if you're not, do your research on that first and then come back to me and we can have a dialogue on that, okay? All right. So, yes, that's correct, Yashub. But anyway, and Yashub is not just there. There's a couple of other references to it as well. Kiddushin 78b is one of them, but there's a couple of other ones as well that deal with the matrilineal lineage. Matter of fact, there's a book that I recommend that I referenced in my lecture, How Do We Walk It Out? And that book really goes into all the references in regards to it there, all right? It goes into the historical references, the Talmudic references, and it goes into the academic references, right? All right, so family, we're up on 2 hours now. So I'm going to end this live stream. I apologize for the rest of y'all whose questions I was not able to get. So I apologize for that. But I will be going live again sometime this upcoming weekend. Y'all pray that I get enough rest so I could be functional enough to do a Maccabee session this Sunday. If not, then everything will have to be postponed for the next 2 weeks, which I don't mind doing. This week has been really interesting, especially this weekend. But next week, next Saturday, I'll be doing a lesson. So y'all stay tuned for that. It should be live stream. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, I'm gonna keep this video up. I was going to make it private or unlisted, but I'll keep it public for y'all because it was just supposed to be me testing out this new overlay interface that I'm using with Xsplit before I actually purchase it, right? And I see that I like it. It's good. I just got to figure out how to invite people on to do a session. And if I can do that, then I'm gonna keep it. If not, I may transition to Zoom. But again, this was just a Xsplit dry run test number 2 and a freestyle discussion. But since it actually went further than that, I'll keep the video up so y'all can go back and dig into it and get what you need from it. All right. So Sean, thank you so much. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. Yes, Bezalel Yisrael, there is a video on the channel about the mixtape. Check that video out. I'll give you the link. It's a donation of $5 or more. If you look up here on my screen, you'll see the PayPal donation, right? www.paypal.me/purpose to serve. Click that, do a $5 or more donation, and we'll send you the link to stream it. There's also the physical copy that's going out soon in another 2 weeks. The end of April, we're going to have the physical mixtape going out too if you want that. So donation of $10, and we'll discuss shipping with you and get that out to you as well. Volume 2 is going to be released at the end of June. By the end of June, we're going to try to release Volume 2 before I leave for Houston in July. We're going to try to do that. And then at the end of the year is going to be another mixtape, but it's not going to be the Truth Works anymore. It's going to have a different name. It's going to have a different focus, etc. We also have the calendar, right, in the works right now, as well as the comic that's in the works as well. And I know y'all going to enjoy that. The comic is designed to teach you about the statute, laws, commandments through the narrative of real life characters from the Iron Age Israel period time and things that they've encountered. And the objective is, once you read the narrative, it's to try and figure out which statute, law, commandment is the underlying premise for the narrative, right? It's a great way for adults and children together to actually read through the comic and try to figure it out themselves. And then, Yah willing, if we do get the financing, we'll do an animated version of that, and it's designed to not just give you Bible stories and stuff like that, right? But it's actually designed to teach you the statute, laws, commandments with what I call reconstructive real life scenarios that would have occurred in Iron Age Israel time, with characters that we create, right, based on real names of people that existed during that time, and not just biblical characters, right, but real life characters or purported real life characters that would have existed during that time. We're going to use real names from archaeological artifacts to name these characters, right, and put them in their proper context and give a narrative or a story of something that occurs, and then it's up to the reader to discover what the statute, law, and commandment is that pertains to that narrative, right? So that's coming out soon. Hopefully later on this year. That's requiring a lot of work. I got one artist already working on that with me. Got another artist working on different artist working on the calendar, and then I got to get a couple of musical artists from either KHM or outside of KHM to contribute to Mixtape Volume 2, like we did Mixtape Volume 1. But we got a lot of merchandise coming out soon. We got the t-shirts coming out soon. It's gonna be really cool t-shirts. How we gonna do these t-shirts? It's gonna be really nice. But that's another way for us to saturate the community with tidbits of the information that's on this channel by other avenues that are probably better for other people to get. Sometimes t-shirts can teach a whole message, right? Sometimes a comic can teach a better message, right? And people are asking me about books. Hey, Devon, when are you going to write a book? Started a couple of books, haven't finished it because I'm no longer a writer like I used to be years ago. So I've outsourced a couple people who are writers that's helping me with my academic articles as well as helping me with books. If any of you out there, y'all are writers, y'all can write, your redactors, editors, or whatever the case may be, email me at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. I'll put it in the chat. And I definitely could need assistance in regards to additional hands, eyes, and minds for administration and as well as writing, right? So if this is something that you guys can do, definitely email us. And if you require compensation for your work, if it's great quality, we're more than happy to do that. And or if you want to volunteer the services and just have your name on it for credit, you can do that as well. But definitely email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com and we got y'all. All right. All right. So yes, Pastor Johnson, you're right. With Xsplit, you can also stream simultaneously to Facebook and YouTube. So the things you could do with Zoom, you can also do with Xsplit. The only thing, Pastor Johnson, is I'm not sure if you can actually bring somebody on with Xsplit. I still have to figure that part out. Somebody told me it's possible. I got to investigate and see if that's possible. If so, I'm going to stick with Xsplit. If not, then I'll transition over to Zoom. All right. Thank you so much, Seeking the Truth Ministry. I'm glad you enjoyed that video. I got more videos coming up in regards to the pre-exilic Israelite customs as well. And once you see how this behavioral profile template is laid out, then you can compare it with West African tribes that identify as Israelites and use that to map you all the way back to ancient Israel. It's a really, really intriguing study and approach in regards to cultural identity. All right. Oh, yo, Bezalel Yisrael, that's you. Email me, please. Email me, please. Let me get you in touch with the other board members and the ones that's in charge of the CAD drawings, and you can definitely contribute that. Have your name on the credit, so that way when things are formed, you'll be one of the founding fathers, right? To help bring things out. Yes, I got you, bro. Okay, I know. I see it's you, Aki. I got you. No doubt. No doubt. All right, family. So I'm going to end this off. I see y'all are having a great discussion in here. Yes, Bobby Blizz, definitely turn your notifications on, and everybody else as well. You see what's scrolling down at the bottom. Just follow those instructions and y'all good. Please thumbs up this video if you enjoyed the content. Also subscribe to the channel, share this link everywhere so people can get put on to KHM and what we teach, what we share, and what we're doing in the community, as well as for the community to see the chat and the contributions that you guys make that make this platform great. Thank you all of y'all in advance for your donations. Those of you who have donated, those of you who are signing on the Patreon, all of this helps so that way we can push this out full time, 100% full steam for y'all, and therefore we can respond to all the inquiries that we get from you guys, which we want to do eventually soon in the future, hopefully by year's end. All right. So family, I hope y'all enjoyed that. Thank y'all so much for participating, for listening, for sharing. If you have any other further questions, write them down. When we go live again next weekend, I'll take care of you. All right. Jason, email me back or forward me the email you sent me. All right, let me go through that. There's a couple of people emails that I'm looking for. You gotta remember, I get tons of emails, so sometimes it's hard for me to go through each and every one. But all right, appreciate that, my brother Darkhan Asufya. Appreciate that. Mark Cleveland, if you want, you can get on a panel and we can have this discussion live next session. All right. Shout out to Sean Henderson in the building. If anybody want a last minute shout out, hit one because I want the community to know the people that support this channel and Kingdom Harbinger Ministries production. So y'all hit one if you want a last minute shout out. I got you so we can sign off. I appreciate that cash at hand. I look forward to working with you as well. We got a lot of great things coming up, and I'm sure you can fit in and assist in some way, shape, or form. All right. Shout out to my brother Yehoshua Shamar in the building. Peace to you as well. Hit one if you want a last minute shout out. If not, I'm signing off, family. All right. I'm gonna wait for your ones to come in here real quick. I'm here to evangelize, not debate. Y'all see, that sums it up. That sums it up. That sums it up. Makes sense. All right. Eliezer Yasharala, not a lot. That's something that I might work on because I realize our community is really into that. I'm more into the cultural, put it in work side, but there's those of us that are interested in prophetic aspects. So if you have a question, you can ask me and I'll address it in live streams. I may do a lecture on it. I'm not sure, but I know a lot of people do like that. But like I said, this is a different flavor, right? Some people come here just to get the cultural, academic, historical, archaeological, apologetic aspect of Hebrew Israelite. But if you want something that's more prophetic, if you want something that's more heavy in the linguistics, we touch on linguistics in here, but that's not what this channel is geared towards. If you want to do things such as Israelite sovereignty or whatever else the case, there's other channels for that, right? There's other channels that teach on other things. This is a niche channel for the people that subscribe to it. I try to address as many questions as I can. My team also helps me out with emails and other things and inbox messages as well too. But there's a different flavor that we have here. Different flavor that we have here. Shout out to my sister Predestined to Reign, Chant Yah Judah in the building. What's good, sis? So nobody else want to shout out? Pastor Steven Johnson. Go click on that brother's not thumbnail, but his avatar. It'll take you to his channel, and make sure you're subscribed to his channel. He put on an extravagant, excellent Hebrew conference in Florida. His congregation showed so much love. Camps came through, showed love. I mean, Ron Dalton was there, Akwatia Ma was there, Brother Benya Israel was there. Man, that conference was loaded, man. I love Fort Lauderdale, Holiday Beach area, so y'all know I'm gonna be back. But shout out to Pastor Steven Johnson for setting it up, man. I appreciate that. Oh, Eric Gross is in the building. That is the brother that is helping out with the calendar. Man, that brother is fire with his work. Fire with his work. Fire. Shout out, Sean. You are absolutely correct. That's how we get it down in here. Clinton Wetson, shalom to you as well. Shalom to you, Seeking the Truth Ministry. Thank you for your contributions to the chat. Shout out to Chief Might in the building. Shalom to you as well. Tabitha West, shalom to you. Sean, shalom and hallelujah as well. Thank y'all, family, for watching. I'm going to close out because otherwise I'll be here forever with y'all. If I had the time and the resources, I would do that, right? Y'all family to me. Y'all know how we get it in. Y'all family to me. Y'all my mishpachah. But there's other things that I have to take care of, so I gotta sign off, family. All right, Walnut host from Long Island. We're at Long Island, Walnut. I did my last semester in high school in Deer Park, Long Island. All right, so and my father's side of the family also grew up in Long Island as well. Central Islip, Babylon, Deer Park, and Wyandanch. All right, so shout out to you as well. Tom Yum as well to you, my brother Yashar, Ben Israel. Much love to you as well, my brother Bobby Blizz. And I'm signing off, family. Let me get out of here, man, because otherwise I'll be on here forever with y'all. Because I love spending time with y'all. I appreciate it. Hope y'all got something out of this discussion, and I'll see y'all next time. All right, Green Lawn. Okay, cool. That's what's up. All right. Shalom to y'all, family. Shalom.